Good morning, everyone. I finally received the Mangoal dash cam. It's the OEM style look, not the one that just suction cups and things like that. This is going to be for my 2016 Acura TLX. Here's the part number. I haven't opened it, I haven't tested it, so we're going to go ahead and unbox it together just to show you what's all included in the box. Very nice box right here. So it does slide out. I'm going to show you what's all included. It's going to come with the free app so you can view the content of the dash cam itself. So you have to download these. It's going to come with it. It's going to have a couple of instructions as far as the QR code. Like I said, this is free, so you don't have to worry about paying for any app to view the content of the dash cam itself. I'm going to put that aside for now. It's going to come with a couple of instructions, a couple of zip ties. We're not going to worry about looking over these for now. This is a pretty nice unit, showing it has 4K capability, built-in Wi-Fi, G sensor. Now the G sensor means if the vehicle is off, if it detects an impact or anything like that, it will trigger the recording of the unit even when the vehicle is off. It also has a 150-degree view angle. That parking mode is whenever the vehicle is off, it'll still function. It's not going to deplete your battery or anything like that. It's only going to start recording if it gets activated or triggered. The loop cycle, that's pretty much the minutes that it's going to keep kind of overriding the previous recorded view. So like I said, we're not going to go to all these. That's kind of what you need to read upon. The unit also comes with the rear camera itself, so we're going to go ahead and run that to the back. The cable, so it's going to be a direct plug and play, so there's no cutting, splicing, or anything like that. It did come with the SD card as well, 128 gigs, so that's perfect. It also came with the panel remover, since we're going to be running the rear camera all the way to the back. And this is the camera itself right here. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and take that out. Pretty self-explanatory as far as that. Like I said, it does have plug and play system, so you don't really have to do any splicing or anything like that to the fuse box. Since I know a lot of people are not comfortable doing that, so that does help a lot. So like I said, just kind of read the manual before you even work on it or try to operate it. It's pretty self-explanatory. It does come with a manual, so that's nice. So Mangoal, which is rare for a company to even include these type of manuals anymore. Everything is electronic or digital. So I'm gonna put that aside. Here is the rear camera. Plenty of wire, so should reach pretty good. So I'm not gonna take out the protective film yet. It does come with the 3M double-sided, so that's perfect. Here's the other content. Let me go ahead and take it out. This looks like the base. And this one already have the sticky tape, so that's perfect. So you get two of them, just in case you have two TLXs and you want to take it on and off. Panel remover, this is going to help you not damage anything when you're running the rear camera. Please do not use a flathead, as you pretty much risk of damaging your headliner or any of your panels. So this is plastic, so this is what you want to use. Here's the T-harness. So like I said, there is no cutting, splicing, or anything like that. It's going to be running off the power from the actual rear view camera, since it has auto dimming. A couple of tools, which another nice thing. SD card. Shout out to them for including that. Save you a couple of bucks from just that alone. This is the most important one. This goes to your OBD2 port. That way you don't have to, like I said, splice anything or have a cigarette lighter connection, which is going to be dangling in your dash. So this is a lifesaver right here. These two parts alone are lifesavers. Now I have a couple of mounting screws, another tool, and then you have a backup adhesive, so that's good. Now we're going to get to the actual dash camera. overall, so far this is a pretty good looking system, packed nicely. So, and here's a couple of harnesses that you're gonna have. It looks like I should be able to tuck everything from here, but I'll find that out once I install everything. Like I said, I haven't really tried anything yet. So, like I said, shout out to Mangoal for making this beautiful, beautiful system. So, SD card port right here on the side. Couple of button selections right here for taking photo, power button, things like that. So, I'm gonna go ahead and try to figure out how to mount this real quick and go from there. Now that you've seen the unboxing, we're gonna go ahead and pop the SD card and pretty much just kind of plug everything in just to make sure everything works before you even run any wiring. That's kind of what you always want to do anytime you do any of these aftermarket add-ons or installation and things like that. That way it saves you the hassle if, say, like the unit is bad or it has any issues. That way you're not running anything that's defective. I would also address that this is pretty nice. It also has a quick release. So I'm not gonna quick release it right now, but let me try. There you go. So in an event this goes bad, you don't have to run a new wire all the way to the back. So, but this is the two that I'm most excited about. I try not to cut anything if possible. So we're gonna go ahead and insert the SD card to the side port right here. And then we're gonna go ahead into the vehicle and kind of explain what we need to do. Go ahead and slide the SD card that came with the system. Alright, I kind of started thinking a little bit more about it. I'm going to end up using the OBD2 port method of powering it up. I do like the idea that it has a plug and play from the rear view mirror, but I just didn't want this to be sticking out. So this is kind of more of a hidden way of it, which looks nicer in the end, but this would be a lot faster to plug in to the back of the rear view mirror. So you just kind of have to choose a little bit on your end which one works better for you. In my case, I like this method better. That way I can hide all the wires. Overall, you have the option to do that. So we're gonna go ahead and run the rear camera, run this one, and then pretty much get the camera all set up to get wired up and plugged in. I went ahead and wrapped the bundle of wires with Tesa tape. This is not necessary to do, but it's just my preference just to make it look nicer since it's going to be visible. So like I said, not necessary, just an option. I'm just going to go ahead and run the rear camera. We're going to end up mounting it about right here for obvious reasons. We have the third brake light to the left of it. So just kind of loosely tighten and kind of run it along the edge right there. Then you're gonna go through this edge and kind of run it along inside. You don't really have to use a panel remover to push it in. You can just kind of work it in. It'll flex just enough so you can get this wire in here. And we gotta go ahead and release the rubber seal. And kind of gently run it along the top. Make sure it doesn't get pinched when you put everything back to the way it was. You're just kind of tucking it in loosely inside there and then put the rubber seal back. So you're going to do that all the way to the front. Make sure you don't zip tie it to any airbags because that's going to be a dangerous situation. So like I said, just leave it loosely, just run it along to the front, and then we'll do the same thing for the power. Once you get closer to the front, this is going to be the method to do the wire right here. Like I said, you just kind of have to push it a little bit. You can use a panel remover, but it's not absolutely necessary. It'll just kind of squeeze in on its own. And then we're going to go to the front and then do the same exact thing. So I went ahead and plugged the rear camera plug port and the rear camera itself. I do love that the fact that they thought about staggering it. That way it's not bulking up in one spot. As you can see, the rear camera plugs right here and the power plug is right here. and an optional GPS port right here. As you can see, kind of staggered, that way it's not bulk up on one corner. So I'm gonna do the same exact thing, add a Tesla tape. Not only it helps absorb like the vibration and things like that, it's not gonna do any of these sounds. Not that it will, but it's just kind of like my thing. Anytime I run anything on the roof or a headliner and things like that, this does help absorb some of the vibration if there will be any. I pretty much got the harness ran along the corner right here, and both of them are coming out just right behind this area right here. So we're gonna go ahead and pretty much tie everything to the OBD2 port that's located down there, and all the excess wires are gonna be down there as well. That way it's not bulking up the headliner. So it's actually going pretty smoothly, a lot more faster than I thought installing it. So if I can do it pretty quick, anybody can do it pretty quick. So I still got everything pretty much tucked in to the channel. We are just moving on. You're gonna have to pull the rubber seal out of this area, that way you can run the wire to that channel as well, and it should come out right below right here. And then we're gonna be able to tuck all these excess wires under instead of it bulking up the headliner. It looks better that way, more safer that way. I pretty much have the headliner the camera just kind of hanging in there, pretty much ready to be sticked on. So far I'm at, I'd say about 30 minutes, and I already got all the wires, and the rear view camera pretty much ran all the way to the back. So this is what the bundle should look like. Like I said, Tesla tape is not necessary, but it does make it look nicer in there. So I'm going to go ahead and zip tie this to the harness, plug the OBD2 port. Now it does have a switch right here. If you want it just to be an accessory mode, that means no parking mode. It won't record whenever you have the vehicle off. As you can see, it has two different options for the dip switch. I'm gonna have mine an accessory just to kind of see how it does in a couple of days, and then switch it over to the 24 hours. Here's pretty much where I zip tied the bundle of harness. It's gonna be tucked in nicely, zip tied to this harness, and then the wires are routed, zip tied, and then go into the flush OBD2 port right there. So pretty much powering everything is pretty much done. So now we just need to clean the surface of the windshield, stick on the cameras, and then that's pretty much it for this install. Alright guys, anytime that I do a rear view camera or any type of dash cams, I always like to turn it on. That way I can see where the field of view for the camera itself. So I'm gonna go ahead and pretty much stick on the bracket, which just pops on to the base of the actual camera. And then as you can see, this is how I'm gonna do that. So before I even stick it on, I'd be able to see where I need to stick it on. So because I want to be able to center it. See, as you can see, if I would have sticked it on without being able to see it, it'll kind of be a little bit crooked. So this is just kind of like a thing that I do anytime I do cameras, just to kind of help me guide it and center it a little bit, so that way you can kind of see what I'm doing here. But other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and clean the surface with alcohol wipe and then stick it on. We've got the camera mounted so far. As you can see, this is why I do the Tesla tape. It kind of makes it look a little bit OEM as possible. So we still need to put back the cover that goes here and then zip tie the harness along to that. And then we're gonna go ahead and stick on the rear camera. For this one, I just drove a zip tie on the bottom and then on the top. As you can see, it's about as close as those OEM as possible. Like I said, you also have the option of teeing it off here, but then you'll have a bundle of that T harness here. So I would suggest this method just because, as you can see, it looks a lot better. We still need to do the rear camera, stick that on, and the install is pretty much completely done. And then we'll take it for a test drive, see the quality on the daytime and nighttime. For the back camera itself, before you stick it on, make sure it's in between the grids. You don't want to do it on top of the grid, as obviously this is for defrosting in the wintertime, and this do send a little bit electrical shock, so it heats up a little bit and you don't want the adhesive to be melting off. So make sure you stick it literally in between, so it's just be just like that. So as I mentioned before, make sure you stick it in between. I pretty much went on this view, that way I can see where the adhesive is going to be. That way obviously I'm sure that it's not on the grid itself. So pretty much I'm going to take it for a test drive in a little bit so you can see the daytime picture. Please do consider that if you have tint, obviously the quality of it is going to be just a tad bit dark, but not too much, but that's only if you have tint. Also along the front, I don't have any tint on the front, so that should be pretty clear, but make sure the glass is clean. I'm also going to do one at nighttime just to show you how the night vision looks on it. But other than that, hopefully this kind of shows you what it looks like. Like I said, shout out to Mangoal for sending me this kit to try it out. So far I do love the ease of installation, so if I can do it pretty quick, so can you. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave a message. Other than that, I'm going to attach the links on the bottom where you can order it. So like I said, shout out to Mangoal for sending me this kit. Other than that, thank you for your time, and please subscribe.